All right, so I am Jason. I run our agency success division here. I have the pleasure of working side by side with Morgan on a daily basis, and we do everything that we can to make sure that Rainbow is the best product available for you, our agent. We don't sell through any other means. It is solely through independent agents. So it is our sole job to make sure that we're doing the best that we possibly can for you and your team and your insureds. So along those lines, we'll go through the demo. We'll show you everything that there is to know about Rainbow. Ask all of the questions. Morgan will interrupt me, and we'll get to questions afterward as well. But just know that aside from just how do I utilize Rainbow, is this risk and appetite, all of that. One of the other things that we love to hear is how we can do even better for y'all. So if there's some sort of like Morgan already mentioned, some sort of marketing material you could use, if there's some sort of feature on our website that like, oh, we've seen this somewhere else and it'd be really cool for you all to do, or if you wish we offered another line of business, those kind of things, we love that sort of feedback because you are our audience. You are our consumer, our customer. And we want to make this the best possible thing for you so that you always want to use Rainbow for your restaurants. Okay, I am going to go ahead and get started then. Like I said, Morgan, please interrupt me with questions. We love them. It adds some spice to me, otherwise just sitting up here and rambling at you. So please don't hesitate. Okay. All right. So a few different things. What you're looking at right now is our demo environment, almost exactly the same as production environment, which is what you'll log into as one of our agents. There may be like a little quirky thing here or there, but for the most part, it looks exactly the same. But what this does is it allows me to kind of show you some stuff without actually binding a policy so that you can just sort of see the workflow and the process. We got a number of different things that we can go through here, and we'll start with the easiest ones first. So policies, everything that you will have bound, both you and your associates at the agency, so you can all see each other's accounts, will live here on the policies tab. At any point, you can get into them and do a number of different things. You can obviously see some of the information about what's been bound, but also you can download the policy. You can request an endorsement, and this is actually where we ask that you do go for endorsements. As opposed to chatting in or something along those lines. You can file claims and you can see the payment schedule. So lots of really great information here that's available to you to help self-service to an extent. However, all the while, since I already mentioned it, you've got this chat, you've got Morgan and myself, we've got a whole team of people out here who want to do everything that they can to make this the best experience for you. So reach out through chat. We're open 8 to 8 Eastern, 5 to 5 Pacific. And almost always it's me or one of the underwriters on chat. So we're always happy to help you. All right. But yeah, just know that this is where you go for your endorsement requests and you can start your claims here. All right. So then I'll show you the settings tab. This is really simple stuff. You can just make some changes to your personal information, update your password. Resources will bridge out to our website with some really great agent resources that Morgan has set up for all of you. And again, if you don't see anything in here that you're like, wow, I really wish that they would do this, let us know. And chances are we'll probably make it for you. Or we already have, and we just need to upload it to this site too. But yeah, make sure you check this out. Lots of really great stuff for you and your insured. All right, so start a new quote. I will show you the quote screen here in just a moment, but I want to kind of go through the start a new quote first really quick. Because this very first step is one that you cannot go back and edit personally. You can reach out to us through the chat or email, and we can make some changes for you if for some reason there's like a typo in the name or the address needs to be changed or something like that. Like we can make those changes. I shouldn't have said address, oftentimes because that's a rating factor that may require a new quote to come in, but just about everything else. If we need to update email address, DBA, that sort of stuff, just let us know. But this is pretty straightforward. Make sure that you're using the insured's email address, right? And there's a number of different ways, the reasons that makes a difference, but the most important one is that that's where all the legal correspondence will go. If there's any sort of notices on the account or whatever, you as their agent will also be copied though. So don't worry about whether or not you're going to see any of this. You will, but for legal purposes, we need to have the insured's contact info on file as well. And then there's some neat little system things that we can do using that email address that I'll show you a little bit later as well. Again, though, all of it is done through you. We don't work directly with the insureds. I mean, they can call us, but like we're not soliciting their business directly. We work just through the independent agents. Okay. So let's go back to the dashboard really quick because I want to show you this quote screen and then I want to take you through the quote process like what we just started. However, I want to do one that's already live, so you don't have to sit there and see me type. All right. So with these quotes, you're going to see a number of different statuses here. And I kind of just want to highlight them. Please ask any questions and I can dive a little bit deeper. Draft means that it is sitting and waiting to be finalized on your end. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Draft means that we haven't looked at it here at Rainbow. We're just waiting for you to complete the quoting process. Referred means that we are going to be looking at it, right? So once you've gone through the quoting process, you may get to the point that it is, where's my bindable one? Oh, you know what? I messed with it earlier today and now I don't have one. You may get to a point where it just shows bindable, in which case you don't need it. It'll look like this with the green button. You don't need any further correspondence from us. You can get in and submit the payment information, agree to the terms, click to bind, because obviously you've gotten all of that approval from your insured and you're good to go. There's nothing else needed. And you can go through our whole process and never have to interact with us at all because, everything fit Rainbow's appetite and it's great and you don't have any questions and you're ready to move forward. That's one of the things that makes Rainbow very simple to work with. However, one of the things that makes us very special in the market too is that even though we've built all of this straight through processing that you can do for your insureds as an insurtech company, we also have some elements that have really made traditional carriers so special in the market as well. We have an underwriting staff that can make exceptions to anything within our platform, right? So even with our underwriting guidelines, with stuff that gets kicked out as declined from our system, reach out to our underwriters. And I'll point that out as we go through the process, but we love to hear from our agents and we regularly make exceptions. We regularly adjust pricing. There's all kinds of stuff. We have a very flexible system. So even if you wind up seeing that something comes through as declined, but you feel like maybe it shouldn't have been, or there's a reason that it should have an exception, we'd love to hear from you. All right, if you do see something that's in referral state, and I don't have one that's showing as that right now, unfortunately, but what that means is that you have to click the button to refer it to us. And essentially, we just do that in case for some reason you don't like our quote and you were never planning on showing us to your insured, then you're not passing it over to our underwriters to take a look at so that we're not wasting anybody's time. But almost always, if you get that referral, you're going to want to click the button to send it over to underwriting to review so that they can get back to you. And once they have, you'll see that it is referred, right? Well, once you've clicked that button, you'll see that it's referred. And then once they get back to you and it's open, they'll either come back with some questions, additional information, or they'll come back and you'll see a bindable status. But you will hear from us either way. Okay. And I think those are the main ones to show there. The only other one possibly that you might run into is expired. And that'll be because the effective date is in the past or the quote sat there for more than 60 days. Our quotes are only valid for 60. So you'll have to remake a quote if it's in there for longer than that. Okay, so let's hop into one that I have worked. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back to the beginning so that we can kind of talk through the points of filling out a quote with Rainbow. Okay, so I showed you the basic demographic, and we're coming back here to the very next screen that shows up.
Hey, Jason.
Yep, please.
We've got a question here from Mark, who asked, can we quote out past 60 days and propose and bind early?
Yes. I'm not sure it depends on how early. I'm not sure how early out. I'd have to look into it. I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not sure how early out we can bind, but yes, as that 60-day window is basically just quote validation. So if you quote out earlier than that, but then bind during that period, the quote won't expire. It'll be fine because it's just whether or not the quote is sat there for 60 days. That's a really great question. I'm glad you asked. Okay. All right, so we specialize in restaurants, as you all know. You're here. I assume that you know. If not, hey, we write restaurants. That's what we love to do. All of these things from wine bars and above are within appetite. You may get some referrals on some of them, like fine dining. We try to just make sure that it is a true fine dining risk, so our underwriters will take a look at it. However, a couple things to note here. So we don't do any sort of commissaries. That's why warehouses are out. We don't have the proper coverages for food trucks. So mobile food vendors is not something that we can write. Bars and taverns and brew pubs. We are not a market for bars. However, our definition of bar is kind of a little bit different than the rest of the industry, right? We are admitted paper. We love our restaurants, but if you go out and you try to write Jason's Bar and Grill, a lot of other of our competitors will see bar in the title and just automatically decline it. Whereas we know that chances are that's probably a family establishment where you just went with your family to watch the game or, have a nice dinner together in a relaxed setting, right? So just because it says bar in the name does not mean that we're not interested in it. We can write up to 65% in alcohol sales. And I'll show you as we get a little bit further down some of the stuff that it is that we use to define what a bar is. Things like, are they open past midnight? And do they not serve food along with alcohol? Those things that are more traditional of a bar sense that I'm happy to say I haven't been to in a while, but I can still remember from my younger days of like being out and like I know that this is a bar even if they sell food. So we try to use some of that more intuitive. And like I said earlier, we're always happy to hear from you if you have any reasons like, hey, you should make an exception to this. This is truly a restaurant and not a bar. Okay, multiple locations. So at this time, we only offer single location policies. The reason that this question is on here is so that you can see that there is a designated premises endorsement that goes onto the policy if it is multiple locations. That said, we love multi-location. They just all need to be on separate policies. And we're actively working on having one having a policy that encompasses all locations. In the meantime, we write tons of them, tons of restaurants that have several locations just with those different policies, and it helps because then you've got separate limits for each location too. So there is some benefit to it. Has the business filed any claims for the past 3 years? Just because they have it's not an automatic kick out. We just want to make sure that it's not over 50,000 and get some description on it. All right, so this is just going to talk about the criminal background of the owners. It's pretty straightforward. Stairs, if there's stairs, that doesn't mean it's a kick out. We just want to make sure that they've got proper safety stuff. And you'll see several of these questions as they come up. Got one playgrounds here in just a moment. That's basically the same thing. Yes or no, you just answer it honestly, and then it'll just give you a list of like, hey, make sure that these safety protocols are being followed. Okay, so these are the bar determination questions, right? Now I say that, and then I'm going to tell you again, we are happy to talk to you about exceptions. So for instance, if they serve liquor and operate between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m., that is outside of appetite for us. However, if they're open till 2 a.m. and the rest of that vacation neighborhood is all open till 2 a.m., they also keep their kitchens open until they close. Like things like that, we are still happy to consider and have made exceptions for that rule on. So if they have alcoholic drink specials under $4 and once a week they sell a Bud Light for $3, right? Those are the kind of things that like, please reach out to us. We would love to hear that and we could potentially make an exception for you. So just make sure that you are checking these accurately if they do apply. But then if for some reason you want to chat with us a little bit further about it, let us know. All right, so playground on the premises, I already addressed this. We just want to make sure that safety protocols are followed. That won't be a declination though. Does the insured have any of these? So similar to the question above, we can do things like write ghost kitchens, but food trucks are out for us. So just make sure that you answer this honestly. And then if you have any questions, any sort of like requests for exceptions, please reach out. Alarms, fire alarm, burglar alarm, security cameras, this is all straightforward. I'm not going to dive into it. 6 deep fat fryers. Never seen a risk that has 6 deep fat fryers. If yours does, I guess answer yes. And then let us know if you want us to make an exception. That is out of appetite for us, but like if they have multiple baskets in the same fryer, that's still just one fryer. So I've never seen 6 fryers. I don't know what kind of establishment has that many. Is the establishment responsible for the parking lot, similar to the playground and stairs question? Okay, so this one's a little bit different because some of these check boxes that you've seen in the past are sort of like, oh, if this is in, then this may be a declination for us. So we get questions about that with wok and solid fuel and charbroiling, but that is not the case. What we are doing here is that we are seeing if the insured adheres to the NFPA guidelines, the National Fire Protection Association, which is what it is that all restaurants are supposed to follow. And what that means for us is that we still love writing these. So if they cook with a wok, we just want to make sure that they're cleaning quarterly. That follows the NFPA guidelines, and that's what it is that we're checking with these two. So go ahead and answer whatever it is that the insured actually does. Let us know how frequently they clean, and then all should be well as long as they're following the NFPA guidelines. Okay, remodeling and renovation. We don't have any sort of inland marine product or builder's risk. However, if your insured is making some changes to the restaurant before they have their grand opening, and all of it's kind of light, and they're going to be done within the next 30 to 60 days, like we can still write that. That's what this question is. This is not a rejection. However, we do want to make sure that we are not, the insured's not going down to the studs. They're closing for long periods of time, because that policy is going to be better placed somewhere else. We don't have the kind of coverages that it is that we need. But some light renovation prior to opening or even during, like reach out to us if you have any questions, but we can still consider it. Cash only is, however, a hard decline. We won't write any cash only establishments. All right, so the rest of this I'm not going to really go through. Full-time employees, part-time, how many hours are they open? Oh, this is one to point out though. We love to write brand new risks. So new ventures, not a problem whatsoever. We just want to make sure that management has at least 3 years experience managing food service. Ownership structure, restaurant occupancy, this is all straightforward stuff. All right. GL questions. We can do up to 10 mil in sales. We rate off of sales, right? So I know that in the industry, you can, there's still some carriers around who will rate off of square footage, but we do it off of sales and we can do up to 10 mil. For our GL limits, we can handle 1-2 in-house. However, we can go up to 2-4. We just have to get approval from our writing partner, Accelerant, which for some reason I forget to go into this ahead of time like I always plan to, but we are structured as an MGA, if you weren't aware. And what that means for us is that we have all of the same capabilities and processes that a typical carrier has. We handle underwriting in-house. We filed all of our own forms. We sell our own policies. However, the one major exception is that it's not our paper. We don't keep the reserves for the policies. That's Accelerant. Accelerant is well known if you haven't heard of them. They're A- rated excellent through AM Best. They're size 9, and they've been around for quite some time. We've got all the materials. You can look them up on AM Best yourself. Just reach out if you have any questions. But we're very proud of our partnership with Accelerant, and they offer some really stable backing to our policies. Admitted as well, if I didn't state that. But anyway, if you need 2-4 limits, we like to see whether or not there's a history of that, if there's some reason that the insured is requesting it. And then once we've collected that information, we take it to Accelerant for approval. That said, we are working on an excess product as well. So look to see that offered in the states in which we offer products here very soon, because that will also be supplemental to this as well. Okay, so off-premises catering, we can do up to 100% catering. We just want to know the kind of risks that we're on, so we ask questions about it. So that's what that is about. We can do catering though. Does the establishment serve alcohol? Yep. Liquor liability, we can do up to 65% in alcohol sales. So like I mentioned earlier, we have a very high appetite for that, a very high threshold in comparison to the rest of the market. That will need referred. You will get a referral for putting in that it's 65% alcohol, but we can do up to that, and we'd still love to take a look at your risk. We can offer assault and battery coverage as well, which is not something that all admitted carriers do with their liquor liability. Just keep in mind that our liquor liability does not follow the GL limits. It is its own sub-limit. So make sure that you go through and you select that as you're here. We can do hired and non-owned auto as long as the HNOA is not on as long as the insured doesn't do self-delivery, right? So a pizza place that does its own delivery, which is becoming, as you all know, less and less common these days because everybody's just using Uber Eats. Uber Eats is not a problem for us. DoorDash is not a problem. We don't do robotic delivery, but you can still write a pizza place that does their own delivery. We just won't write the HNOA on it. That's the only thing. All right. So we're going to carry on here. I'm going to skip through a good amount of this because it's all pretty straightforward. You're used to seeing it. What type of construction is it? When was the building built? What's their roof system like? How much is sprinklered? Square feet occupied? BPP limit. Do you want to add building coverage? So we can do that as a BOP. You can get building coverage or you can waive it. If you say no, we give you an option for tenants improvements and betterments because chances are the insured is probably leasing if they don't want building coverage. But you can always say no if you don't want to include that as well. But if you say yes, we can do up to 5 mil in TIV, just as a heads up. So we can offer that building coverage as well. AOP deductible, wind hail. One thing that I like to point out about this is that if whatever it is that we preset this to is the minimum that we can go, right? So we use data and calculations on the inside to say like, hey, we believe that this needs to be a 1% wind hail deductible. Now you can always increase it. You can go up to 2%, 5%, or even make it X wind. However, you cannot say no separate deductible, or else you will get an error and a declination. The lowest that we can go is what the pre-fill is. And on this particular risk that I filled out ahead of time, the pre-fill I got was 1%. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, so is the location of the establishment in any of the following? The one big thing that people always ask about is the habitational in particular. If it is the business owner who lives above it, we can still write that. If you select it, it'll give you some drop downs to kind of ask similar questions. Also, are there firewalls protecting it? Right. So there's some exceptions that we can make, just like is kind of the theme I'm sure you're noticing on all of this. It's something that we're very proud of. We understand that your insured is unique. Everyone, all of these businesses are their own entities, and they should be considered that way. So, do we want to write something that's attached to habitational? Probably not. But if there are some good safeguards in place, we will absolutely consider it. All right, so we're going to say none for this. Carry on. All right, so that's through most of the coverage. Now we're going to show you some of the additional stuff that you can add on and some of the discounts, which is great. So very similar to some of the other markets you've seen, we have a premier package that has all kinds of additional stuff that you're going to want to review and probably add for your insured. There's a whole page dedicated to it here. It's lots of really great stuff. Take a look at it with your insured, and chances are you'll probably want to write it. One of the things to point out, though, is that we have a number of these that are customizable. That means regardless of whether or not you add the Premier, you can add it and still customize the limits on these particular ones, or you can leave it off and still customize the limit. So these are ones that we've identified that we can offer like increase or decrease limits on because they're particularly variable as to each individual restaurant's needs. So we try to make this as flexible of a product for your insurance as possible. Okay, so we offer equipment breakdown coverage through Mutual Boiler Re. It's a very obviously well-known company within the industry. And then for cyber and Epley, we do it on Harper Steam and Boiler, right? So these are some great products through partners that we have that are offering these. And if you select them, you'll get some additional questions to fill out. But just know that you've got those well-known established names behind it. And if you want any additional information, please reach out. But some great coverages to add there as well. And then here is where if you want to customize those limits on the Premier package, if I said, yes, here, would you like to add additional coverages or customize limits? Then it gives you a drop down of all the different options that you can then select, add, whatever the case may be. So instead of going through all that, I'm just going to say no because it's pretty straightforward. Additional insureds. This one's a nice and easy one. Add blankets. They're free. We don't charge for them. We don't write contractors, which is where the majority of the work goes into additional insureds, as you all know. So what is it that a restaurant really needs it that often for? Usually like landlord kind of situation. So we just offer it for free. You might as well add it. If you need to schedule an individual though, that option is still here. You just click yes and you go through, select the type and put the information in. But it's really that simple. We don't charge for it, so you might as well add it. Okay, so discounts. We can offer up to 40% IRPM discounts. Here within the dashboard, as the agent, you can select some various different things that will get you up to 20%, and then you can reach out to us for more. So things like whether or not they're in a membership, a restaurant membership, are they part of a franchise? So they maintain a Google business profile. All kinds of really great and simple to do things that we believe help make sure that a restaurant is held to a higher standard in quality and the way that they treat their guests. So those are reasons that we're willing to apply a discount. And if none of them apply, or if all of them apply, you still can reach out to us for additional pricing considerations, right? So if you check yes here, or you reach out to us afterward, you can always email too. You don't necessarily have to do it here. We ask that you provide some justification for it. The biggest thing that helps us is to know what your target premium is so that we're not just throwing a premium at the wall to see what sticks. We would love to try to get to what you need. And it helps us to know that ahead of time. And then your justification for it, like why it is that you believe that your insured deserves, the additional credit or why they need to be at this premium. But yeah, fill that out, reach out to us anytime. We love to hear that kind of stuff if you're not noticing the theme. All right, effective date. we can do same day binds. We can do some backdating too, but it's going to require reaching out to the underwriting team and approval with a no known loss letter. So just know that that is a possibility if you need it. All right, payment method types. Okay, so this is another thing that kind of stands out about Rainbow, and I'm gonna highlight that in just a moment. Is the pay as you go. We'll go through the easier ones first. Pay in full gets you a 5% discount. Obviously, that's the entire year's premium paid up front, with one exception. In California, California does not approve that discount, so that's the only state that we don't offer it in. All the rest of the states have approved it, and they're okay with the 5% discount pay in full. Just know that if you're in California and you're trying to do a pay in full policy, there will be some discounts as it were, because we have a credit card fee associated with charging to a credit card. So if you're only making one charge as opposed to 12, that's obviously different, but it's not going to be that whole 5%. It's just going to be a much smaller amount. Monthly is pretty straightforward, and then pay as you go. So this is what makes us another feature that kind of makes us a little bit different. Similar to how you've seen in work comp, pay as you go is a system where we take the sales from the insured and then bill them accordingly, right? So whereas with monthly, you're going to have a down payment up front, with pay as you go, we just charge 50 cents to the account to establish that connection. And then we charge the premium to the insured after we've received their monthly sales. Couple reasons why this is a really great thing in the restaurant industry. As you all know, the restaurant industry fluctuates a lot. There is a lot of seasonal type stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of seasonal type stuff where your insured will, they'll have busier seasons and less busy seasons. So this is very helpful for them. And similarly, it prevents them from having to go through an audit at the end of the process, right? So let's say that you've done your best to get it to get as close to their sales as possible, but they had a great year and they had millions more in sales. Well, now they've got a much larger insurance bill at the end of the year because of the audit. So this could be a great program for them as well. That said, what it requires is that your insured send in their monthly sales each month in order for us to calculate the premium. One of the things that's really cool about this is many modern point of sale systems, POS systems, actually facilitate that for your insured. They will automatically send out, if you put in an email address, that monthly sales. I know, for instance, Toast does it, and then many of the other major POS systems. However, some don't. This is still available for your insured if that's the case. You just may want to consider that then that is going to require them to send it out manually monthly to us, and that may be a bit of a burden for the insured and for yourself to follow up on. So it may not be a fit for everybody, but for those that it is a fit, it's a really great offering that we can do that's pretty unique in the market. So we're going to do choose monthly. And what you're going to see is a referral here because of some of the items that I selected. And I'm going to go back and adjust those so that we can get a quote straight out right now, and you can see the whole payment screen. But this is what it looks like when you get a referral. Referral required. It will have that referral status until you click this button, refer now, and it'll send it to our underwriting team to review same day. They usually try to get to them within an hour, but definitely same day. And they can get back to you with any questions that it is they have. But you're going to want to make sure that you click that refer now button. And here's your reasons why. This is because we selected fine dining, which is an establishment or a class type that we want to make sure is actually being selected correctly. And then high liquor sales, like I told you earlier, up to 65%, but it is going to require underwriting referral. Morgan, do we have any questions while I go back and adjust those really quick?
We do not, that I haven't. Oh, wait, looks like we just got one in. Is there a base monthly premium rate if the restaurant sales fall below a certain dollar amount?
That's a great question that you would think I would know the answer to on a minimum premium. I'm certain that we do have a minimum premium. I've just never once seen us actually hit it. So let me get an answer to that. Morgan, you don't know off the top of your head, do you? What
I
our
do
minimum
not.
premium is? Yeah, I'll have to find an answer. Sorry that I don't know. In my many months here, I've literally never encountered it. So, okay.
And then one question, because I haven't had a chance to look it up myself, but do you happen to know off the top of your head which states we offer excess in currently?
Yeah, so Arizona is the very first state that we piloted in. We're getting ready to release it in a couple of other states. I believe it's Michigan and one other. But that should be, we'll have announcements out for it as soon as that's ready. But it's available in Arizona presently. All set?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Morgan. All right, so I went through and I changed those things. I made it a referral just so that you all could see what the binding process is like. Right? So you can always go back and edit, change payment plans, that sort of thing. Download your quote here, and it'll give you a full rundown of everything that was selected and a breakdown of the premium. Rainbow Rewards, and then you can just purchase it outright through that button. However, Rainbow Rewards is something that I would encourage you all to take a look at because on this particular policy, it would save $257. And all that your insured needs to do is upload 5 photos. And the reason that we do this is because we feel like insureds who are going to share that kind of information are going to take pride in the cleanliness and orderliness of their restaurant. So if they're going to share a hood and vent system, dining and bar area, front entrance pictures, then they deserve a bit of a discount because they're willing to go above and beyond to make sure that they're, an establishment that cares about safety and their customers. So we're willing to offer a discount for folks who are willing to upload this. Now, they can send them to you and you can upload it because this is, you'll get the screen same as I'm showing you, or you can share the quote with them and it will be emailed to that particular insured's email address that you added at the very beginning. Then they can upload their individual photos and um, and pay remotely as well. So lots of really great features with this too. So just kind of keep in mind as you go through it. And I think that that is it for the demo portion. All right, so I want to take a real quick second to just show you our website. Userainbow.com. You can get to the login here, although I would suggest that you just bookmark this. It makes it a lot easier. If you need to set or reset your password, that's here. But then also, we've got Morgan has done a phenomenal job of putting together all kinds of really great blog articles. We have a brand new addition to our website that Morgan did a phenomenal job with as well. That is a lot of different restaurants that we've found in just various different ways in different states. And you can get in and see the details, and you can see a quotation from the agent. You can see a quote from the underwriter who worked on it. And you can just kind of get to understand like what our appetite is and the kind of businesses that we love to write. And the last to show you is our availability, right? So we are in all the green states presently. We are going to be in the blue states shortly because we filed with the DOI. We're just waiting on approval. And all the remaining states, we still have aspirations to be a part of. We just haven't filed with the DOI yet. So look for those to come here soon too. And I think that's all I have to share.
Great. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
There are not currently any other questions coming in, but we can just wait another minute in case folks think of something. I did put your email in the chat earlier, but if anyone comes up with any questions later, you're more than welcome to just hop into the chat button on our website because you will probably get Jason. Oh, great. I'm so glad to hear that, Skylar. Yeah, let us know if you have any feedback. Hopefully it stays very user-friendly and easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll send out the recording of this probably tomorrow. And it'll come from Jason's email. So if you have any questions and you haven't chatted in or whatever yet, you can just reply directly to that. And Jason will be sure to answer your question.
Thanks, Morgan. It was awesome having you all here today. Thanks for showing up and all the great questions. We do what we do because we love working with agents. So anytime we get a chance to interact with you, it makes our day. It's always my pleasure to be on these. So have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
See you.